Yo, what's going on, guys? Today I have another Depin device to unbox and do some testing on and see just how much money we can make off it. Today we have the Anyone router. So this is basically a decentralized kind of router where you can actually use this as a local VPN, and instead of paying for like a different VPN provider, you can actually just hook up to your device and use that as the VPN. So I'm pretty excited to try that out. I've been using a free VPN and it kind of sucks lately, so I'm curious to see if this is much better option. I'm wearing my blue to match the Anyone network, so let's check it out.
All right, guys. So today, like I mentioned, we have the Anyone Relay is, I guess, the official term of it. So right here is the main device. Super simple. I mean, it basically is just like a very small router, but it's got a lot of power to it and hopefully the potential to make some serious money. So nothing crazy in the box. We've got a getting started sticker and then a USB power cable that we'll unbox here. One thing to keep in mind is that this does not come with a power brick, and you can't just use any power brick. It needs to be a high powered one, otherwise you will get a red flashing error that you're not getting enough kind of wattage. So this is the one that I used. Nothing super special about it, just make sure you don't use like a super junk one. Now, I do wish the cable was a bit longer, kind of restricts where you can actually plug this thing into, but I guess it is just a USB-C, so you could get a longer one if you wanted. This does require an Ethernet cable, though I think you can run it off Wi-Fi too, but as all my devices, I like to run them on Ethernet if I can. And here I am plugging it in. One thing that's of issue that you're going to see is, like I mentioned, that cable is too short, so I can't put it on the top shelf with the rest of my Depin devices. I end up having to kind of squeeze it into here, and I do end up moving this to a little bit of a better spot. But this is just where I get everything initially plugged in. And I guess let's talk about the setup process next. So we are about to go through that, and it was overall pretty easy, though with a lot of these Depin devices, it seems like there is a few kind of minor issues that you always have to deal with, and I did run into one of those a little later on. So first off, you just scan the little code here, and that's going to take you into the setup. Now mine, I don't know if the lights are glitched out on it, but you can see there that they're like half red, half green. And looking through this, they were supposed to be all green at this point. So I was already a little concerned right off the bat. But then the next thing I needed to do was hit this button, and it did go to the blue lights, no problem. This is basically turning it into a little bit of a Wi-Fi hotspot, and then you have to connect to that on your phone. I think the password's like anyone.io or something, but it is in the documentation. Then you need to log in with a separate password, admin, and here is where you select if you want to do router only or relay and router setup. So relay is when your device is actually going to be sharing its bandwidth with everybody else. So you need to make sure you have a decent internet connection, and that's where you're actually going to be getting the rewards, where you set it up as a relay. Now the router setting, that is basically where you can turn this device into a VPN, which in my opinion is one of the cooler things, because it means that you don't need to pay for your own VPN. So that kind of offsets the price of this device. Now right here, you briefly saw that you needed to put in your Ethereum address. And the easiest way to do this is just to download Trust Wallet, and then that has Anyone token on the Ethereum network, and you can put that address in there. So right here, I'm actually setting up my new kind of network name if I want to get on my VPN. So I'm just going to name it Anyone VPN, and that way it's clear. If I want to get on a VPN, I just connected that network, and then boom, I'm on a VPN. So right here, we're about to jump into the computer. Let's check it out. Okay, so once you get it set up, I went to relay.local.login, and we need to provide another password here. Got a lot of passwords going on. Looks like the password here is just admin, and we will go ahead and save that. So we were able to get in here. That's good news. I was a little worried because the lights were kind of red and green at the beginning when they were supposedly supposed to be green, but it ended up hooking up just fine. And we can see that we are indeed in here. So this is probably one of my biggest kind of tech downfalls, is I'm not good with like port forwarding, Ethernet setups. Like that's one of my least kind of fluent tech categories.
So I'm going to mess around with this for a little bit, make sure everything is working properly, and then I'll come back and inform you guys on how it went. Well, you shouldn't put yourself down because I was able to figure it out pretty easily. So I'm still not great on Ethernet stuff, but I can at least explain how to do this. So when I originally put this in that last clip, under this reachable right here, it actually said unreachable. So my router was not set up correctly and it actually was not working. And how you know if it's working is if the little ring right here on the device is flashing blue, and I'll throw a clip on of what that looks like. So what I needed to do to fix it in my case was I had to make the Anyone router a static IP on my router. And normally when I do that on like ASIC miners, it's through the interface here of the actual device. But in this case, there's nowhere in here to actually make it a static IP. So that was confusing for me. But then I realized that I can actually go onto my router app on my phone and set that IP as static. And in this case, actually, when I set up the port forwarding, it automatically made that a static IP. So jumping ahead a little bit, but once you make the device a static IP on your network, then you can go into port forwarding. And from my brief Googling, this basically just means that you're opening a single port to allow outside traffic to basically hit that port or that device that's there. And in this case, it's the Anyone router. So I did set up port forwarding on my Anyone router, and then now you can see that it is reachable, and right here I have all greens and I have the blue flashing light. So this is up and running right now. Now, what it means right here where I have Wi-Fi disabled, this means that other people are kind of bouncing off of my relay right now. So I am going to be earning rewards through that. We're going to look at the rewards here shortly. But I first just want to give a brief description of kind of what this thing even does. So that is the relay aspect of it. So basically your device is acting as a relay and other people's traffics are kind of bouncing all over the place. And you can see that mine is turned on here. So you can set maximum data right here. If your provider has like a cap per month, you probably don't want to get one of these, but if you did, you could set the max data that you want to use per month and stuff like that. So the other side of this is you can actually set up a basically network hotspot with this device. And like I mentioned earlier, it's basically going to turn your device into your own VPN. So instead of spending $15 a month on a VPN, you buy one of these devices and you basically have a permanent VPN. So I have this turned off right now, but if I were to turn this on and hit apply, you're going to basically give it whatever name you want and then whatever password you want. You need to reboot after you apply settings. I find that this device is rebooting very quickly, so that's good. And then once this happens, if I go into my internet right here, I'm going to have to block out most of this. I will see a listing for Anyone VPN, and I should just be able to connect to that like any Wi-Fi network and browse like I'm on a VPN. So I'm going to do some testing off camera to see how that works. But for now, I'm going to let this sit for a day or two, and then we'll get into the profitability and kind of what that looks like. All right, guys, been a couple days. I finally got this hooked up. I did end up having to use MetaMask instead of Trust Wallet. I don't actually think you can use Trust Wallet. I think you have to do MetaMask. And the reason is that you have to connect to the Sepolia ETH network, which is basically the Ethereum testnet. So I couldn't figure out how to do that in Trust Wallet, which is why I switched back to MetaMask. And you can see here, if you click Show Test Networks, you can add Sepolia right here. And then this is what you add. And after doing that, I was able to finally get my relay to show up here. And I have this claim button. This is the next step, is that you have to go ahead and claim that. Hit confirm on your MetaMask here. Confirm again. And hopefully this should claim. And since it's actually a piece of hardware from Anyone, you don't have to lock any coins or anything like that. So I wanted to get this quick clip in here. Now I'm going to wait a few more days until we start getting some rewards. But yeah, you want to use MetaMask. You want to hook it up to Sepolia network. And then there's something that I'll explain once I start getting rewards about how you have to get some Sepolia ETH in your wallet to cover gas fees on the testnet. And it's super easy. You just have to go to this website that's like a faucet website, and it basically just gives you Sepolia ETH because it's a testnet coin. It has no value, so it's just free to get. So I'll go over that shortly in a few days once we get some tokens, but it's been a few days and I don't have any yet because it took so long to get everything hooked up. You have to wait 2 days
for it to actually even show up in your dashboard. And then I had it wrong the first time because I was using a standard ETH address instead of a testnet Sepolian address. So finally, everything is hooked up. Took a lot longer than I wanted, but the good news is it's claimed and everything is running properly. So see you when we start getting some rewards. Okay, guys, it's been another couple days. I have some rewards and ready to discuss kind of what's going on, my pros and cons about this device, would I recommend it or not recommend it. So you can see here, this is about 2 days after I got it set up, and I've only received 0.18 anyone tokens. So this is concerning because if we take a look at the price of anyone, it is only worth 35 cents. So technically I've made about 6 cents in the 3 days since I've had this up and running. You can see if I go into relays, it is claimed. And if you go to the dashboard, the most important flags here is that it is reachable. And then this means hotspot up means that I can connect to the VPN. So real quick while I'm on it, the VPN does work fine. Only thing I really use VPNs for is the hub. If you know what I mean, you know what I mean. And this VPN does work fine for that, so that's at least good. So the dashboard does work good as long as you get it hooked up to your MetaMask correctly. This right here is interesting that I'm not getting very much anyone, and I think it's explained in their kind of rewards breakdown right here. So how the rewards are supposed to work is that 56% of the base rewards are handed out to everyone based on how much bandwidth you are giving. And this is the important fact right here, which is the reason why I think I'm not getting very much anyone yet, is that a relay's observed bandwidth ramps up over the first 56 days that it's active. So since mine's only been active for like 2 days, my bandwidth is obviously very small and I'm not getting very much rewards. So looking at this again right here, I missed this earlier, is that this is your average daily rewards is at 1.5 anyone tokens. So I'm not actually that far off of this considering I still have my 56 days to ramp. So that is interesting. The other side of how much you get paid is based on uptime. I should basically have 100% uptime. So that should be kind of getting maxed out in my case. They do have exit relays, which is upcoming. So that basically just is a special relay. And then people who have the actual anyone hardware are going to get a kind of bonus 20% because you can just take an old router and kind of run their software, I guess, on it, set it up as an anyone router. You can go that route, but then you have to stake tokens and you don't get this 20% bonus for actually getting the hardware. So you can see here the kind of leaderboard of who's getting the most, and I believe another side of this is where the device is located. If it's in an area where there's not a lot of other relays, then you're going to get more rewards. I was just about to say that doesn't appear to be in any of these breakdowns right here, but it is in the geographic multiplier here. So basically, if you do it where no one else is, you're going to get a boost. So some people are getting all the way up to 8, but I think it's probably better off to take the average here, which is 1.5 anyone, which would be about 40-50 cents a day. And this device, if you are interested in it, is located on Helium Deploy. Here we have it right here. And if you guys don't know, I do have a discount code MODERN, and that will get you 10% off any item under $500. So technically $40 off of this. So this one is a little bit harder to recommend because the rewards are very low right now. But granted, this is still a testnet coin. So kind of the thought with any Depin device is they use very little power, so there's not really any cost to it besides the initial device cost, and you get in early to try to potentially get some crazy price appreciation on the tokens that you do get in that time between when it's testnet and when it goes to mainnet. So looking at the coin real quick, it is number 900, and it is 35 cents right now, which is basically all-time low. When it started, it was 15 cents, but since then we're at basically all-time low, which is nothing to be kind of concerned with because most of the crypto market in terms of altcoins is pretty close to all-time low. It has gotten all the way up to $3.62, which would be a 10x from where we're at right now. So that 50 cents you're making becomes $5. So that would definitely be nice. Now I will show you real quick. Once you have anyone in your dashboard, you have to redeem it. So like I mentioned, this dashboard is hooking up to the Sepolia ETH network. So it is the testnet version of Ethereum. And therefore you need Sepolia ETH in your wallet to actually handle the gas fees of getting this Anyone token, similar to how you would need normal ETH to handle altcoin transactions that are on the ETH network in MetaMask. So I was very new to what the heck even is a faucet. And basically, to get Sepolia ETH, you just go to this website right here, alchemy.com/faucet/Ethereum Sepolia. You just type in your testnet address here, send me ETH, and it's going to send you 0.1 Ethereum, and that is more than enough. From there, you're able to redeem your rewards, and then you confirm here. You can see right here, it's going to take a little bit of your Sepolia ETH for gas. And what this should do is give you Anyone tokens on the Sepolia ETH network. So you basically have Anyone tokens in testnet, and then I'm guessing those will transition when it comes to mainnet. So this just said rewards redeemed successfully. We'll give this a little bit longer to see if this goes static, and then we'll check in our wallet to make sure. So we should be able to look in here right now. So I don't actually see Anyone tokens in my tokens right here, but in the dashboard it says eligible for next airdrop. So I think they do get paid out maybe once a week. I believe I saw something that they come out on Tuesday. So that's what it is. Overall, pretty interesting device. Basically, your own VPN that you buy once, cry once, and then you don't have to pay a monthly fee for a VPN. And you have the chance of earning these Anyone tokens on testnet that hopefully kind of go crazy in mainnet eventually. So that is all I can say about this device, guys. Keep up with these videos, and I will be kind of monitoring the profitability of these units in my monthly series. I'll start including all my Depin devices with my GPUs and all that, so you guys can kind of keep up to date with which ones made money and which ones definitely were not good purchases. You can follow along and see it all. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.